On my wedding day, my father stormed into the bridal suite and threw a stack of papers on the table. "If you marry him, you're out of the will." My mother begged, "Please, don't make her choose." My hands trembled as I flipped through the papers, and realized he had been planning this for years. I looked up at my father and whispered, "Then I guess it's time you read what I found out about you." When I pulled out my own papers, his face turned white. I never imagined my wedding day would unfold like this. The sun was shining over Boston, casting a warm glow through the windows of the bridal suite at the Fairmont Copley Plaza. The room buzzed with excitement as my bridesmaids adjusted their dresses and shared laughter. My mother fussed over the final touches of my gown, her hands slightly trembling. The scent of fresh roses filled the air, and the distant hum of the city below added to the anticipation. As I stood before the mirror, taking in the sight of myself in the elegant white dress, the door burst open with a force that silenced the room. My father, a man known for his composed demeanor, stormed in, his face flushed with anger. In his hand was a thick stack of papers, which he threw onto the vanity with a resounding thud. "If you marry him," he declared, his voice trembling with fury, "you're out of the will." The room fell into a stunned silence. My mother stepped forward, her eyes pleading. "Please, don't make her choose," she implored, her voice barely above a whisper. My hands trembled as I reached for the papers, my heart pounding in my chest. Flipping through them, I quickly realized they were legal documents, revisions to his will, trust fund adjustments, all meticulously prepared. It was evident he had been planning this for years, waiting for this very moment to confront me. I looked up at my father, my voice steady but quiet. "Then I guess it's time you read what I found out about you." From my bag, I pulled out a folder containing my own set of documents. His face turned ashen as he took them from my hands. The room's atmosphere grew heavier as he scanned the contents. The color drained from his face, and his hands began to shake. He looked up at me, eyes wide with a mixture of shock and fear. "Where did you get this?" he demanded. "Does it matter?" I replied, my voice unwavering. "The fact is, I know." Tears welled up in my mother's eyes as she looked between us. "What is going on?" she asked, her voice breaking. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "Dad has been having an affair," I revealed, my voice laced with both hurt and determination. "For the past 5 years. With someone from his office." My mother's gasp was audible, her hand covering her mouth as she staggered back. The bridesmaids exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of how to react. "Sorry isn't enough," my mother said, her voice firm despite the tears streaming down her face. "You've broken our trust, our family." I nodded in agreement. "I'm marrying James," I stated definitively. "Not because of money or inheritance, but because I love him. If you can't support that, then maybe it's best you leave." He stood slowly, the weight of his actions evident in his posture. Without another word, he turned and walked out of the room, leaving behind the documents that had started it all. My mother turned to me, taking my hands in hers. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart," she said, her voice filled with sorrow. I squeezed her hands gently. "It's not your fault, Mom. Let's not let him ruin this day." She nodded, attempting a weak smile. The bridesmaids rallied around us, their support unwavering. As I walked down the aisle later that day, I held my head high, knowing that I was making the right choice for myself and my future. The path hadn't been easy, and the revelations had been painful, but they had also been necessary. Love, trust, and honesty were the foundations I wanted for my marriage, and I was determined to uphold them. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with heartfelt vows and surrounded by those who truly supported us. Though there was an undeniable void left by my father's absence, I knew that the family and friends present were the ones who mattered most. In the days that followed, my father reached out, seeking forgiveness and a chance to make amends. It would be a long road to rebuilding trust, but for the sake of our family, we were willing to try. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes the people we trust the most can disappoint us. But through it all, it's the choices we make and the love we hold on to that define our paths. After my dad stormed out of the bridal suite, everything felt surreal. Like I had stepped out of a dream and into some kind of slow-motion nightmare. I still had mascara smudges under my eyes when the wedding planner walked in, cheerful as ever, until she saw the room. Silence. My mother sat on the velvet couch staring at the papers he left behind. My maid of honor, Jess, was whispering to the makeup artist who had backed into a corner. I didn't cry. I didn't have time. The wedding was still on. The guests were already arriving. The man I loved was downstairs, probably pacing the hallway outside the ballroom, wondering what was taking so long. So I did what anyone would, I put the folder of secrets back into my bag, fixed my lipstick, and walked out of that room like nothing had happened. But something had happened. And things were only going to get worse. When I got to the ballroom entrance, James was there. My fiancé. He looked so handsome it almost hurt. He smiled at me, relieved. But his smile faded fast. "What's wrong?" he asked. "You look. I don't know. Cold." I pulled him aside. I wanted to tell him everything. About my dad, the will, the affair, the documents. But instead, I just said, "We need to talk after the ceremony. Please just trust me for now." He nodded. Slowly. "I trust you. Always." I wish I could say the ceremony was peaceful. That we exchanged vows under the chandelier and danced the night away. But 10 minutes after we said "I do," as the guests clapped and the string quartet played, my cousin Drew came up to me with a strange look on his face. "Hey," he said, "why is your dad talking to that blonde woman by the fountain outside? You know her?" I frowned. "What blonde woman?" He pointed discreetly out the side doors. And there they were. My father. And someone I recognized. I'd seen her before, in the background of some photos I found in the folder. The one I showed him. The one that proved the affair. She was here. At my wedding. I turned to Jess. "Cover for me." And I left. The second I stepped outside, my dad spotted me. His face changed. First surprise, then panic. Then he did something I didn't expect. He smiled. "Sweetheart," he said, stepping forward. "I want to introduce you to," "Don't," I cut in. "Don't introduce her to me like she's some family friend." The woman had the nerve to hold out her hand. "Hi, I know who you are," I snapped. "You've been sleeping with my dad for 5 years." She blinked. My dad tried to pull me aside, but I stood my ground. "What the hell is she doing here?" I demanded. "I invited her," he said. "I wanted you to meet her. So you'd understand this wasn't just a fling." I almost laughed. "Understand? You cheat on Mom for 5 years, destroy everything, threaten me on my wedding day, and now you want me to understand?" The woman took a step back. "Maybe this was a mistake." "No, stay," I said. "You might as well hear it too. Because you're not going to like what else I found." My dad's face fell. "What do you mean?" "I didn't just find out about the affair," I said. I dug deeper. I had time. "You were too predictable." He looked pale again. The same way he did in the bridal suite. "You remember that trip to Montreal?" I asked. "The one where you said you were meeting a client?" He nodded, slow and cautious. "You weren't just cheating. You were embezzling money from your firm. Over $100,000 funneled into a fake consulting company. Want to know how I found out? Your assistant. Turns out she doesn't like the woman you've been sneaking around with." Now both of them looked horrified. That's not what you think," he stammered. "Oh, it's exactly what I think," I said. "You used your position to move funds around. You filed fake invoices. And I have every document backed up in that bag inside." The woman looked at him. "You told me it was all above board." He didn't respond. "I should go," she whispered. No, I said. You both should. And if I ever see you again at another family event, you better believe I'll go public. My dad took a step toward me. You wouldn't do that. This would ruin me. I stared at him. You already ruined us. Then I turned and walked back inside, heart pounding. But it wasn't over. I made it through the first dance. I made it through the speeches. I thought I could pretend for a few more hours. Then James found me outside the kitchen, pale and shaking. We need to talk, he said. And I knew. Just from the look in his eyes, I knew something else was wrong. Really wrong. He pulled out his phone. Showed me a message. A screenshot. Sent from an unknown number. A picture of me holding the folder in the bridal suite. And under it, a message, you don't know who you just married. James looked at me, pain in his eyes. What is this? What folder? Who took this? I didn't answer right away. Because I didn't know the answer. But I was starting to get a bad feeling that this wasn't just about my dad anymore. This was bigger. And someone at my own wedding, was trying to tear everything down. I stared at the screenshot on James' phone. My heart dropped so hard it made my fingers go numb. That photo wasn't just from the bridal suite, it was from my angle. It was taken from inside the room. Someone had been there. Watching me. While I confronted my dad. Who sent this? I asked James, my voice barely coming out. He looked at me like I was made of glass. I don't know. It's from a burner number. No name, no reply. It just said, you're hiding something. I pulled James aside and finally told him everything, the confrontation, the affair, the embezzlement, the documents, the blonde woman outside. He didn't yell. He didn't even flinch. He just asked one question, who else knows about the documents? And that's when something clicked. Jess. My maid of honor. She was the only one who touched my bag that day. When I left to follow my dad outside, she was the one I handed it to. She said she'd keep it safe. I ran back into the ballroom. Jess was dancing with my cousin Drew like nothing was wrong. She looked up and smiled when she saw me coming. Then she saw my face. Her smile dropped. Come with me, I said. No question. Just a command. We went out into the hallway near the coat check. I shut the door. What's going on? She asked, fake confused. You look, cut the act. Did you open my bag? She blinked. What? I didn't tell anyone what was in there. No one but James and my mom even knew I had those papers. But someone took a picture. Someone sent it to James. And you're the only one who had it. Jess crossed her arms. Wow. So now I'm your suspect? On your wedding day? Yes, I said. Because you've been acting weird for weeks. You were the one who kept pushing for a prenup. You said it was just smart. You asked way too many questions about my dad's finances. So yeah. You're the suspect. Then her face changed. She dropped the innocent look completely. Her eyes turned cold. I wasn't going to say anything, she said slowly. But if you're going to accuse me, fine. Yes. I saw the documents. I did take a photo. My mouth went dry. Why? She stepped closer. Because I knew you were hiding something. I knew it the second your dad showed up with legal papers and you didn't freak out. You had something to use against him. And I wanted to know what it was. You sent it to James? I asked. She hesitated. No. That wasn't me. I only sent it to one person. Who? She looked me dead in the eyes. Your sister. My stomach turned. I don't have a sister, I said, confused. Jess tilted her head. Don't you? And that's when everything cracked wide open. She pulled out her phone and opened a photo. It was of a young woman, maybe a few years younger than me, standing in front of an office building. Her name is Rachel, Jess said. She's 26. Lives in Providence. And she's your father's daughter. I couldn't speak. Couldn't even move. Your dad had another kid, Jess went on. With the woman from his office. The blonde one. They've been keeping her a secret. Paying her off. Private school, college, even a car. But now she's older. And she's angry. I sat down on the bench outside the coat closet. My knees gave out. Jess stood over me. I sent her the photo because I thought she deserved to know the truth too. But I didn't expect her to go this far. She must have sent it to James. Why? I croaked. Why would you get involved? She hesitated. Then she said something I didn't see coming. Because I'm dating her. Silence. I met her at a conference a year ago, Jess continued, quietly. We hit it off. She told me who she was. She knew who I was. She asked me to help her get close to your family. To you. And I said yes. You're kidding. I didn't plan on falling for her. But I did. And now I'm stuck in the middle. She's obsessed with taking your dad down. And she's willing to do whatever it takes. I just sat there. Trying to breathe. She's at the wedding, Jess added. Somewhere in the crowd. She said she'd wait until the reception to make her move. I thought that meant a scene. A fight, maybe. But now I don't know. I stood up. I have to find her, I said. Before this turns into something we can't fix. Jess reached for me. Be careful. She's not like you. She's not trying to protect anyone. She's trying to destroy. I left Jess standing there and walked straight back into the reception. And I looked at every face in that room, wondering which stranger was my secret half-sister. Wondering what she planned to do next. I walked into the reception hall like someone chasing a ghost. My eyes scanned every face. Most of them were old family friends, distant relatives, co-workers of James. People laughing, drinking, dancing under warm lights, all unaware of the storm building just beyond their champagne glasses. But then I saw her. In a pale green dress, leaning against the back wall near the bar. She wasn't talking to anyone. Just watching. Her face, it was like a mirror. Not a perfect one. But enough to shake me. She looked just like my father. Same sharp chin, same hazel eyes. Her posture was cold, too upright, like she didn't belong there and didn't care. I walked right up to her. You're Rachel, I said. Aren't you? She tilted her head. Smiled without warmth. Guess I look enough like him, huh? I didn't reply. You know, she said, this wedding is beautiful. The flowers. The music. The perfect dress. I've been watching all day. It's like something out of a movie. Why are you here? I asked, keeping my voice low. She laughed softly. Because you weren't supposed to have everything. My jaw tightened. You could have come to me. Talked to me. I'm not the one who hid you. No, she said, but you benefited. You got his name. His money. His love. I got silence. And payoffs. And a dad who never called unless his guilt was eating at him. You're right, I said. What he did was unforgivable. But this is my wedding. She narrowed her eyes. Is it still? That's when she stepped up on the stage beside the DJ, grabbed the mic, and tapped it twice. The music cut. Conversations died. Heads turned. Sorry to interrupt, she said into the mic, her voice loud and clear. I just have a little toast I'd like to make. No, I whispered. I moved toward her, but it was too late. My name is Rachel, she said. I'm the daughter of the bride's father. His other daughter. The one he never acknowledged. Until today, when I finally got to see how perfect his real family turned out. People gasped. A few stood up. My mother's hand flew to her chest. I know this might be shocking, Rachel continued, but I think it's time people knew who he really is. He had an affair. He embezzled money. He threatened his own daughter. And now he wants to pretend everything's fine. She turned toward my father, who was frozen in his seat, pale as bone. Well, Dad, she said, are you going to stand up and tell everyone I'm lying? Silence. He didn't move. Rachel looked around. Thought so. Then she handed the mic to the DJ and walked off the stage like she hadn't just torn a hole through my entire wedding. The room exploded. Whispers. Shouting. My aunt walked out crying. Someone dropped a glass. James rushed to my side, his hand gripping mine tightly. My mom walked up to my dad and slapped him. Hard. It echoed. You said it was just one mistake, she said, trembling. You said it was over. He didn't deny it. Didn't say a word. Jess tried to step in, tried to talk to Rachel, but Rachel brushed past her and walked out the back door without looking back. And me? I just stood there, in my wedding dress, holding James's hand, wondering if this was still my life. Later, when most of the guests had left and the staff started cleaning up, I found my father sitting alone in the corner of the ballroom. He looked up when I approached. I wanted to protect you, he said quietly. From what? I asked. The truth? I didn't know what else to do, he muttered. It got out of hand. I kept telling myself I'd come clean one day. I just never picked the day. I sat down across from him. I always thought you were strong. Wise. Someone I could look up to. But today, I saw a coward. He swallowed hard. I know. You hurt her. You hurt Mom. You hurt me. He nodded. I'll do whatever I can to fix it. I shook my head. You can't fix this. You can only stop making it worse. He didn't reply. He just looked away. As for Rachel, she didn't come back. She didn't call. But she posted a photo online that night, a selfie outside the venue with the caption, "Truth always comes out." Even at a wedding. The fallout was slow. Quiet. Cold. My mom stayed at a hotel for a week. She didn't speak to my dad. Jess tried to apologize, said she was blinded by loyalty to Rachel. I forgave her eventually, but things were never the same. Not really. James, he was my anchor through all of it. And when I asked him, days later, if he regretted marrying into all this chaos, he said, no. Because I didn't marry your family. I married you. We started our honeymoon late. Just the two of us, no phones, no news. We needed the quiet. And when we got back, I started therapy. I wrote letters I never sent. To Rachel. To my dad. To myself. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if my family will ever feel whole again. But I know this, the truth can destroy you. Or it can set you free. And on that day, the day everything broke, I learned that truth is a terrible, beautiful thing. I'm still healing. Still learning. Still trying to be someone my younger self would be proud of. But I'm not afraid anymore. Not of secrets. Not of losing people. And definitely not of standing up for myself.